He had a hard time studying to a clock with arthritis when all he would hear outside of his windows was gunshots as loud as his father's screams. The silence of his house can make a mind scream for sound. His father would beat him, turn his face into brown plateau. I remember watching him in the back of the classroom. Hospital-colored walls with printed Google images of everything that had to do with history. Shit was boring. The desks were always in test-taking position for failure. His brown skin was tainted with red lashes. His eyes were darker than 1,000 midnights. He had the hands of an empty prayer. He used to make paper planes with them. The way he folded is as if he was telling a story. He always got tongue-tied and never asked a question, as if his esophagus had dyslexia. Answering a question for him was the equivalent of asking a clock with arthritis the time. He was shaky. Our teacher would make a fool of his intelligence by always calling him out whenever it was time to read passages she couldn't understand herself. Her textbook was our teacher. She would mistake his walks for gang activity, mistake his paper planes for insubordination and not a cry for help. A history teacher that couldn't see the history in her students' energy. No one understood what she was teaching. She just handed us worksheets we wasn't prepared for, expected us to be like the suburban kids she used to teach in Westchester. Harlem be no Westchester, miss. It's full of young colored kids who have to take a different route to school every morning because of violence, and grown men who fantasize over the thread counts of little girls' uniform, of boys being brutally beat by their parents and going home and brutally beating their education. I passed him my notes whenever he made an illusion out of lessons, to pull an F out of the black hat. Since all his teachers tried to Houdini him to the next grade to get rid of him, he never spoke up to anyone. His father had a way of muting his spirit, so his paper planes were a symbol of wanting to pantomime his way out of a life he didn't ask for. Sitting in front of him was the best thing about 7th period. We communicated with letters on a paper plane, gliding notes to and from each other until he stopped coming to class. I watched the window week after week, hoping he would walk into it with a paper plane in his hand, ready to write me some perishing story about life and his father. I walked past his locker to find it empty. My eyes made waves on my cheeks. I passed my locker to find a paper plane attached with my name on it. In it said, "Hey, it's James. I've enjoyed conversation with you. You are my only friend in high school. As you know, my father was beating me severely. I couldn't stand the pain any more than you can stand the pain with your mom. I found a college where they'll actually listen to me, help me, make me into a better man than my father." You asked me one day why I make paper planes. I make them because the day my mom died, the plane gave the Twin Towers a spinal tap. I make planes because they remind me why my dad is the way he is. You'll see me one day. This is my last paper plane for you.